Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Revival Podcast. I am your host, Cyber Yeti, and over here to the other side, Mr. He ain't blue no more, Mr. He over here looking like he forgot the Crip walk and started rocking with the Bloods over here, Mr. DJ Notorious. You need to unmute yourself, sir, so people can hear you.
Man, no, I just had to let you finish that lame open, man. Jeez, you sound like an ABC after school special in the 90s. That's what that sounded like. Mr. Africa, he's wearing blue, and now he's wearing red, and everything like that. No, I chose red because I choose violence tonight. I choose violence tonight. And I stand by anybody with a clapback. Shout out to Ja Rule and the rest of them. Clapback is in session tonight.
We've got a lot to go over tonight, obviously, including our Dynamite recap, which I know everybody wants to talk about it, but we got to get to it first.
Oh, we gonna
y'all need to pump the brakes. Everybody, including people in chat, we need to pump the brakes. We're gonna get to it. You just got to give it a minute. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and pay a bill here really quick. Huge shout out to Ulti, ultisubs.com. Make sure you swing by there, pick yourself up a flavor, or pick yourself up a nice metal shaker, or the big 60 something ounce. I forgot, it's like 62, 64, whatever. Ounce shaker. When you do, make sure you use discount code Revival Army to get 10% off your order. It not only helps us, but also you get to pick up a product that actually works really well. I actually use it frequently, and I don't have any crash or anything, so it's definitely something worth trying. So again, thank you so much to Ulti for the support as always into season 2 of the Wrestling Revival Podcast. All right, so obviously, if you were with us over the weekend, we actually did a recap episode, recap shows for night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania. So we don't really need to touch on that. The only thing we're going to talk about right now first is going to be the Raw After Mania, which I'm going to be honest with you. If you stack it up to the Raw After Mania from last year, it was a little bit better, but it was still a little disappointing.
You're being much nicer than me. I told you I chose violence tonight.
Well, then choose violence. What'd you think about it?
It was absolute garbage. It was garbage. It was. You know, we said
better or worse than the one from last year?
The same. I put them in the same boat.
Really?
Yes, I put them in the same boat, and here's the reason why.
Okay.
The first 43, 44 minutes, okay, Cody,
that was awkward.
Celebration, that was fine. You know what made it awkward, and I'm glad you said that word. Hey, WWE, I know you're trying to fit everybody and their mama's cousin's uncle into these arenas now, but not having that stage with the Titantron is going to hurt y'all with some of these arenas that y'all go into. Just saying. It's going to hurt you a little bit.
But also, too, I think they were partially lazy about it, because I figured they would have at least started working on it Sunday night going into Monday morning to at least get a bigger Titantron up. But at the end of the day, they were after
it's all about the money.
It's all about the money.
But no, besides that first part with Cody, The Rock, and everything, and it's funny you said awkward because there was a chant during that whole thing saying this is awkward. So
that's the first time I've actually heard a wrestling audience actually say that this is awkward.
I give credit more to Philadelphia because they wasn't with the BS. They were the good crowd that you needed for a Raw After Mania. There's only certain places in America that Raw After Mania should be. That is one of them. But after that, it fell off. And when I mean fell off, it took a nosedive. Nobody was really there for that. I mean, we didn't get everything that we should have gotten, segment after segment after segment after segment. I did not need to see Dragunov, even though Notorious here in Cyber, we both called Dragunov would be appearing on the Raw After Mania, which he did immediately after that whole 45-minute thing. But
and I could tell you this right now, I kind of feel bad for him because I don't think he should have had such a squash match that he had against someone who is a damn good striker.
He's a great striker in Shinsuke, but it's one of those things like you didn't hype it up. It felt like a glorified house show match that happened to have some TV cameras around. That's what I personally got from it. But we knew this was happening. The draft is coming up in a few weeks, so a few people made it known that they're up for the draft. And NXT call-ups are going to happen. But name me a match that was great during Raw After Mania. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Don't get me wrong. I understand that they were trying to showcase their two NXT champions on this episode.
As they should.
Dragunov, good competitor, ended Walter's WWE UK Championship reign. That was the longest reign that he had. You kind of notice that with Walter, though. Every time he holds a title, it's not just for a little while. It's not for 6 months. It's not for a year. He actually holds it for
quite a bit.
Quite a bit of time.
Quite a bit.
So I don't know. Dragunov, I honestly think he will wind up coming up in the draft. The question is how is he going to drop the NXT title? Same thing with my girl. She's looking at like she's about to get called up too. Yeah. I mean, they're talking about that there's going to be a rematch between her and Valkyrie because she has her rematch clause in her contract. Apparently down in NXT, they still have that. No. So she's going to get her shot again. But I mean, the two champions currently, those are being eyeballed to be sent up to the main roster during the draft. That's what it's looking like right now. But to be honest, there wasn't really a huge match that was on Raw this week. And that is disappointing. And to be honest, I feel like there should have been more emphasis on this number one contender match. They had this fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was Drew McIntyre, it was Jey Uso, it was Bronson Reed, and it was Ricochet. Ricochet, I'm kind of happy that I saw him in this match because look at what he's done the past couple weeks before WrestleMania.
Yes.
He's wrestled both Dominic and JD McDonough or Bobblehead McDonough. And he actually won both matches. And then he fought Ivar, and he actually pulled that massive throwaway slam on him, caught him midair and pulled a fallaway slam on him. So Ricochet has actually had an opportunity to show out over the last couple of weeks. So I felt like this was a good choice for them to put him in that match so he could showcase a little bit more. Obviously, we knew what the result was going to be. We knew it was either going to be Drew McIntyre or else it was going to be Jey Uso. Bronson Reed was not going to win that, and neither was Ricochet. Right. This was just a showcase opportunity for them. But overall, there wasn't really any really good matches on it. I mean, they did get a little cheap pop with the whole Judgment Day versus Awesome Truth with their friend they can't see.
We saw that coming a mile away.
I know. Come on, dude. Everybody had to see that coming from a mile away.
It could have been Little Jimmy.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
Been little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy. Ghost tag.
What was the twin brother to Dominic Mysterio? What was his name that R-Truth came up with?
I can't remember to call it right
I was waiting for R-Truth to say that's who their tag team partner was, and I was going to be like, oh Jesus.
It was something. I mean, don't get me wrong. It had its moments, but this is what I told y'all. If y'all want to look back at night 1 and night 2 recaps of WrestleMania, remember I said this. If Awesome Truth touched any one of those titles, it was going to become a comedy act. And that's exactly what you're going to get for the foreseeable future. They are now the comedy segment of Raw. Forget about those titles right now.
I can tell you this right now. That is probably going to be changing. I could see them taking the titles off of them within the next couple of weeks. I'm thinking Backlash. They're going to have somebody
after Backlash. They're going to run it through the whole summer. It's going to be the summer of truth. Awesome Truth.
Dude, I sure as hell hope they do not.
I don't want it to be. I've said it many times. It don't need to be, but that's what they're going to do. They're going to give him them, meaning Miz and R-Truth. They're going to give him a run. and it's just nothing but comedy. We're not going to say this was a top 10 wrestling match that they're going to be in this year. It's just
Yeah. Okay, so going ahead and checking on chat here really quick. Peter, how's it going? Yankee, Notorious, and Cyber Nolan Ryan Express. Okay, Peter, we're both choosing violence tonight. So
listen, hey, he's not wrong. I gotta give him a strong 8 on that. He did put it together.
it was decent. I will give credit where credit is due.
Mm-hmm.
It is decent, but yeah, don't make me choose violence with you, buddy.
Damn. All right. Let's go
And
to
then
it.
Epic Gaming, Peter, stop.
It was funny though. I gotta admit, it was funny.
And then Aaron King over here talking about, oh, it was Tom and Nick. Okay. Well, Aaron, we're going to get to the whole Punk situation once we get to Dynamite, so we'll address your comment then in regards to that. So we'll get to it. We just want to get through the Raw recap. Oh no, trust me. And this is like typical Yankee and Astro shit. You know, we say sometimes we agree. Woo, I think we're going to have a very heated debate here when we get to that. But let's start with where it came about that Judgment Day and Awesome Truth winded up fighting each other. Judgment Day had they rebound very quickly WrestleMania weekend.
Yes,
Night one winded up losing the tag team titles to Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and then Awesome Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ultimately, we said it. I think most podcasts were saying it. They were going to split the tag team titles in that match.
Yeah,
and that's what ultimately happened. Now, Rhea Ripley retained, which we already knew that was going to happen. We had a feeling that it was going to be kind of the swan song for both Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, for them to go away to spend some time off, spend some time with the kiddo, maybe have another kid and focus on healing. So kudos to them. Seth Rollins, you are a damn workhorse. I don't care what anybody says. No disrespect towards you, because holy cow, man. So anyway, the Judgment Day, the night 2, starting with the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre match. Of course, we know what happened there. Drew won, got distracted by CM Punk, got attacked. Damian Priest cashed in, and 1, 2, 3. We have a new world heavyweight champion after a 5-minute reign from Drew McIntyre. I could tell you this. It almost seems like Damian Priest underwent a transformation in a matter of 12 hours.
It was
beautiful.
There.
It was beautiful.
It was there. It was always there. It was just waiting for that right time to pull the trigger, and he waited for the grandest stage of all. He didn't wait for a Survivor Series. He didn't wait for, the Royal Rumble. No, he literally waited for the biggest stage of them all. Hey, when you think of Seth Rollins and WrestleMania, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
The ultimate cash-in that he did on Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Exactly, and that's exactly what Damian Priest is now going to be.
Well,
he literally has that all-time moment.
Looking at some of the dirt sheets from what's being said, Damian Priest didn't know he was cashing in until literally minutes before the match ended. A producer went to him and said, "Get in your wrestling gear." Literally changed, and as soon as he got back to Gorilla, they were sending him out.
Perfect.
So, I mean, it was super last minute. He didn't even know it was going to happen. He stepped up, and man, oh man, I could tell you this, on Monday night, he looked sharp.
Yes, he did.
And with his new theme music too, I like it.
It's working for him.
This is going to be
a good run for him. He deserves it.
Now, since we're talking about Damian Priest right now,
yes,
let's go ahead and jump into what he did after. Well, actually, was it before or after?
Well, let me tell this here, because it happened in my neck of the woods here.
Here we go.
Damian Priest, as he did, he became champion, cashed in, did all that stuff. But he actually did something that a lot of champions seem to be doing. If you remember a few years back, well, it seems like almost a decade now. CM Punk, when he won that title, taking it away from Vince and doing the whole thing like that, where did he go next day? He went to Wrigley Field and enjoyed batting practice with his beloved Chicago Cubs. So, what did Damian Priest do? Well, he is from New York, and he actually went to 161st and River Avenue, of course, home of the New York Yankees, and took in batting practice with his guy Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, and the rest of the Yankees. Of course, he came equipped with the championship belt. Got a signature bat from Aaron Judge as a gift of winning that world title on WrestleMania weekend. As you see there, taking pictures with Juan Soto. Juan Soto is now the #1 selling baseball jersey in America right now. Just hurts, it's a Yankee and not an Astro. You got Anthony
Here
Volpe
we
there taking the
go.
pictures with Damian Priest. And he's making his rounds right here. And he was presented here with the Legacy Yankee title, of course, furnished by the WWE and Major League Baseball. I still want one of those. And, of course, he had a good time there in Yankee Stadium. Of course, he is a New Yorker, so going to Yankee Stadium has been a thing for him since he was a kid. But to go back there as a champion, that was something special for him.
And also, too, it was such a good visit for them. The New York Yankees even put up a little bit of a montage video for him. And due to the fact that it's with the Yankees, we actually can show it. It was posted on social media, so we can actually show it to y'all. So,
good moment there. Good moment there.
He had a good, outing in New York right after Mania, going and celebrating. And of course, I'm just going to mention it. I don't have any slides for it, but I'm just going to mention it too. Exactly like it said on WrestleMania, the end of WrestleMania, the new undisputed Universal WWE champion actually was on the Today Show the following morning, and he also flew to New York. So for that, so they were both in New York at the time. He pretty much did the press run, the very first press run as a champion. So, I mean, he presented titles to all the hosts. There was 3 of them. He had 3 universal titles for them, kind of did the same thing Damian Priest did, looking extremely sharp like he always does. If you want to look at social media and look at that recap, he's representing being a champion very well. But the big question everybody's having is what's going to happen with him now? I think we are going to get some of those answers this Friday because that is the show that he is on now, and at least until the draft.
Right. They'll be playing double duty. I think you might even see that from Damian Priest as well.
I think so too.
You're going to get double duties for both of them until the draft shakes out, and then you'll see it start to separate there. But no, I have to say, with some people, if you win the title, it's great and everything like that. But when you are from your hometown and you actually do that and you could bring it back home to show the world, like, Mama, I did it, it shows off good. And it was actually Tuesday that Damian Priest did that. So right after
it was
Raw,
Tuesday,
after Mania,
so it was after Raw.
he
Okay.
showed up to batting practice with the Yankees.
I couldn't remember to save my life. I couldn't remember if that was Monday morning or if it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a couple more people here. KB, from what I've seen, Raw was good, and the future of WWE looks pretty good, especially after the draft. I'm glad you see it like that, but to be honest, I'm kind of in the same boat that DJ is. It wasn't a really great post WrestleMania Raw. It's not that year that a bunch of NXT stars popped up. It was like Enzo Amore and Big Cass. That was like what, 6, 7, 8 years ago?
Yeah, we're almost rolling on a decade for that.
Yeah. So I mean, when that Raw hit different. It was like massive pop for everybody that showed up. And then we have KB here again. Hats off to Triple H. Damian Priest looks like a main event player now. I think here's the thing. If you look at all the champions that are currently champion right now, they are all Triple H's original kids from NXT. If you look back when it was a couple years ago, when Survivor Series was Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, look at who the champions or who their top stars were in NXT. They are almost all of them are currently champions on the main roster.
So I guess his foundations have turned into pillars, I would think.
I think I that's a good assumption.
It could be like that. But I
But
do gotta say this though, when it comes to this whole thing about it, I gotta see more from SmackDown and then going into the draft. I gotta see more from it, because when you have a Raw After Mania and you project it all over social media, you guys have seen it just as well as we have. They were talking about rest in peace sports entertainment. Well, guess what? It must not be dead yet, because Monday was strictly sports entertainment and not enough wrestling. So maybe they're gonna do that after the draft, but that's something I caught on to very quickly.
I'm honestly thinking is they just wanted to. I just feel like that they were giving people time off. It almost feels like, because of the multiple NXT matches we had. We had 2 of them,
right?
And also, too, most of the people that wrestled on Mania, they were either not there or else they were only showcased in like a small promo.
Backstage,
that was it. Judgment Day was the only Judgment Day, Awesome Truth, and
Imperium.
Well,
minus Gunther.
I was about to say, and then there was like less than 10 or 12 wrestlers that were on the Mania car on Mania weekend. They had matches. It was probably a handful that was active Monday.
And so, it really showed. So, I guess a lot of them chose to have that week off or to get some time with their families, kind of decompress, because everybody knows the Raw After Mania is pretty much the season premiere. Everything, the new fiscal year starts.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe they'll show up Friday, but if not, definitely before the draft, because that's where some people will be moving to different shows. May not be much, but there will be some people moving to different shows and some call-ups coming in between. But shouts to the chat here. We got Sting29J.
Oh, this guy's got jokes.
To say that saying that the Astros are better than the Yankees is as ridiculous as saying LeBron is the GOAT over MJ. Just an off-topic question. Well, you know what?
Okay, Sting, I will tell you what conversation DJ and I had before we got on the air.
Okay.
I flat out told him, I'm pissed at the way that they're playing right now. The bullpen is screwing us over. Mistakes have been made, and I'm not hitting the panic button yet, but I'm pissed off because right now DJ, you ain't shit. You can go fuck a goat, sir. Anyway, but cut that short. I'm not happy with how it's going. Mistakes were made with the bullpen. They need to be fixed. But anyway, just to finish up Raw here really quick. They came out, Judgment Day came out and did a promo, and Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were real big on showing off that they're both the main champions for Raw in both the men's and the women's. And then they went to hold up their titles, and then we got R-Truth trying to be funny, holding up the Raw tag team title and saying, I brought the tag team title back to the Judgment Day.
I mean, just, how, like, old grandma, everybody got that old grandma, in their household or whatever. And you know how she be like, bless your heart. That's how I see every time, R-Truth is out there. I'm just like, you know what? Bless his heart. I
just really want to see one day. I hope I see it in the next year or two. R-Truth randomly showing up in TNA with with a belt or wearing a WWE stuff and being like, "Oh shit, this ain't Raw. My bad.
What the fuck?"
I'm still waiting to see that.
Yikes. I mean, you know what? They do say the WWE anything can happen. So, you know, they have that kind of sort of distant cousin, third remove relationship with TNA. Maybe it will happen sooner rather than later. And watch it happen during a Jordan Grace match. Watch.
That would be hilarious.
It will happen during that match alone.
It would be hilarious. But moving on really quick so we can finish up the rest of this card. Liv Morgan actually winded up attacking Rhea Ripley backstage.
Liv Morgan went to Home Depot before the show.
And you just see this chair fly out of nowhere. I'm like, what the hell is she doing?
Like somebody playing 2K24? What's going on here?
Yeah, you know, when you hit the button and it just, instead of you hitting somebody with it, you just throw it at them.
Throw it at them.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but that looks like that's going to be the next program for Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. I mean, we know what's going to happen there, folks. Let's not sit here and think that Liv
Mommy's
Morgan
always on top.
I see what you did there.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah, she's gonna do her thing. So I don't see her losing that belt for a while, as we said before. If you guys missed our reactions, you might definitely want to look back at night 1 and night 2 recaps so you can see how we feel about, you know, that women's division going forward. You definitely want to watch that.
And then of course the next match after that, we had the NXT Women's Champion, my girl Roxanne Perez, going up against Indy Hartwell. This match kind of went exactly like I thought. They're still trying to grow Roxanne Perez as a heel. And I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of like AJ Lee vibes off of her with it. Of course, Johnny Gargano's wife. Candice LeRae. She tried to interfere to help Indy win. And of course, that didn't work out in her favor very well.
Right.
Roxanne Perez pulls Pop Rocks, and then that's it. 1, 2, 3. Roxanne Perez wins. Going to the comments here really quick. We have Epic Gaming. Rhea's going to squash, of course.
We see that happening easy.
The person who will beat Rhea isn't on the main roster yet.
You know what? It's still a wait and see. Let's see how the draft plays out.
Yeah, I would say that. And then Epic Gaming here. AJ is her wrestling mother. Well, actually, yeah, they've actually had interactions with each other. And you know, she's been very vocal about it, even back when she was in the independents here in Texas. You know, she was very vocal about, you know, having some run-ins with AJ Lee and, you know, them talking and everything. So I can understand it. But anyway, moving on to the next match here. We have, well, not the next match, but the next thing that happened is Sami Zayn had his first appearance as Intercontinental Champion. Which, I'm sorry, it still doesn't sit right with me that Sami Zayn was the one who beat Gunther. It does not sit right with me. But anyway. Peter, you're losing at life.
Oh, man.
You're losing at life at this point.
Man.
I mean... Peter, all I got to say is you better hold what you love very near and dear to yourself, because if you don't and I find out about it, I am going to destroy you with it. Your talking privileges are revoked.
I mean, but I think the techno lies being told there. I mean,
I don't need to be reminded about the bullshit, okay? Well, I see it myself. I had the game up, okay? I know what happened.
Oh, you lost like Roman Reigns. So I guess the Kansas City Royals, you have to acknowledge them then, right? Is that what she's doing there? Okay. Acknowledge that your bullpen sucks. Okay, cool. You know, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone. Your bullpen is trash right now. Okay, you know, and it's funny.
I've even said that
your bullpen is trash. It's like the trash cans y'all were banging on a few years back. But let's continue. It's cool. Got you. It's all right. So yes, the tag match we had, Sami Zayn and Chad Gable would then take on Imperium, because Imperium came down and was like, look, you took the belt from our ring general. We want to have some words with you. But Chad Gable came down and handled business. They did get the victory, Gable and Sami Zayn. This is all leading up to Sami Zayn versus Gable at Backlash. You could write it down right now at this moment. That's what's going to be. And I would not be surprised if Gable gets it.
Well, they've already announced that they're going to have their match next week.
I think it's going to be a part 2. That is not going to change hands on a Raw. That's going to be a Backlash with probably some form of a stipulation.
Possibly. The next thing coming up, Chelsea Green requested a match on Raw, and boy, did she get it.
Well, guess what? This is how they say, when Karens act up, they get fucked up. Okay? And she fucked around and found out.
Yes, and she found out that her opponent was Jade Cargill. Jesus, she started freaking out the second she saw her. Started saying, "I didn't agree to this, that, and the other." You know, the typical Karen stuff.
I thought she was going to say, "I'm going to write a letter," something like that.
That wouldn't have surprised me.
Yeah.
What's so bad is her GM is even already trying to trade her off. Like, okay, anybody want to make a trade? Trade.
Who knows?
Trade. But anyway, that match was a squash match. 1, 2, 3. Jade Cargill won the match. Sting, you better quit your shit. Quit your shit.
Man, I mean, it's. I heard the song "Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City," but ain't no love for the Astros tonight. I mean, no lies detected. I agree with it, but
shut your asses up, all y'all.
It's
anyway.
All right.
And then of course, Sami Zayn and Gable have their little interaction after the match, and he pretty much says, "Yes, I remember what I promised you. This is going to be we will get you your title match next week on Raw in Montreal." So I have a feeling Imperium's probably going to screw around with it.
No, definitely they should.
Yeah.
That should be an easy one there. You probably will see the return of Gunther.
Exactly. And then, of course, we get to the main event, which is the Fatal 4-Way. Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, and Bronson Reed. Of course, we automatically knew there was no way that Bronson Reed or Ricochet was going to win. Ricochet is slated to win the Speed title in the tournament that they're doing right now on X. So he's slated to win that. So it didn't surprise me at all that he wasn't even considered for it. But the way that Jey Uso won it is what everyone is talking about. This is building up to a match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. CM Punk winded up grabbing onto Drew McIntyre's leg, preventing him from doing the Claymore. And he got distracted. Jey Uso took advantage. He super kicked him, fell down. Uso splash, 1, 2, 3. There is your number one contender for Damian Priest World Heavyweight title, Mr. Yeet himself, Jey Uso. So that was Raw after Mania. Now, both DJ and I are kind of in agreement. It was not great. It was not good. People missing off of it, which I can understand due to WrestleMania being literally 24 hours prior. People were off, people were injured, people were healing. So they obviously had the people who were still viable, still able to wrestle in the very little wrestling that happened, wrestle, and everybody else kind of either did promos or they weren't on the show. So,
I mean,
disappointing, but
it's another year once again where Raw after Mania does not live up to expectations. You think about it every year if it's going to get better, and it simply did not. So hey, let's hope that, SmackDown makes it a little bit better, and maybe they're holding off for the draft. See what happens there. Of course, that's the end of the month, starting on SmackDown, then ending on Raw.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I was
probably
about to say. I want to give it to at least the end of the month, the draft, see where everybody lands, see what happens on SmackDown. I mean, because by then we should have most of the wrestlers that were not on Raw. They should be in, I think it's in Detroit on Friday.
Yes, it's in Detroit.
It's in Detroit, and that it hopefully, everybody's there, and they're able to put on a decent show. Checking chat here. Sting, I hope when the match happens with Punk and Drew that Punk can make it through the match without getting hurt, or instead of calling Mr. Glass.
I
Wow.
see the double entendre there with the
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Glass. That was a good one, Sting. Very good
Yeah.
one. Peter, so with Gunther losing the title, what do you think will happen to
World
him?
title picture. World title picture.
He has to be made into a beast, pun not intended, and really just run rush out of the division and get his title shot. Probably setting up for him to have that championship match, probably in Berlin. That
Yeah,
would be the smart thing to do. Have him
I
in Berlin.
definitely see that in the way it's going to work. The people who are in that fatal four way, except Jay, Gunther's going to run through all three of them. He's going to start with Ricochet, completely demolish him. Go to Bronson Reed, completely destroy him. Go to Drew. He will get into a match with him, but again, if this happens before Punk and Drew are able to meet up and have their match, CM Punk will get involved and Gunther will win that way.
Right.
So that's kind of how it'll run down. And eventually, when it's in Berlin, I agree with DJ on that. That's when we're gonna see him in the world title picture. And do I see him winning it off Damian Priest?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't think they're gonna give Damian Priest a short reign. I don't think they are. I'm gonna say at least 8 months. 8 months.
I wouldn't say that. I don't think he's going to have the belt by the end of the year when we're all watching, the ball drop here in New York City. I don't think he's still going to have the title at that point. I think he does lose it as early as SummerSlam.
SummerSlam?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it's going to be. Got Sting here once again saying Walter as champion because every promotion has trouble booking babyface champions. I mean, hardcore fans love Gunther, but I don't think as a babyface we love him as the ring general himself. So, yeah, that's an easy way. Yeah, easy way to go in as a heel and just knock off whoever is champion at the time. Yeah. Damian Priest is kind of, we think of him as a heel, but he might look like as a tweener of some sorts. But, we'll see what happens. They got a lot of different options they can go to. So,
oh yeah.
Let us know on social media, what do you think about the Raw After Mania? Did it live up to the hype? Was it really that good? Let us know on social media. Following us on IG, the Wrestling Revival Podcast, on X. That's right. Elon Musk still calling it X, so we're going to call it X. TWRP_official. And for TikTok at TWP_official_. Make sure you're following all three, including YouTube here as well, because there's always exclusive content on each and every platform. So make sure you do that. Now, before we get into this next one here, I'm just going to put out the public service announcement. Okay.
We're really good. Was it at the top of the show?
No, we didn't do that really. So I'm just going to say it right now. The views and viewpoints that are about to be spoken by Yankee and Astro may get a little heated, but he's still an Astro fan. I know, I'm sorry. And I'm still a Yankee fan, and we still will do this show continually, okay? And there we go. So, what everybody is here for, I'm just going to be honest with you. I know everybody's here for this. AEW Dynamite went down tonight, and I guess Tony Khan was listening to Ja Rule clapback because he was ready for the clapback. Or everybody was watching WrestleMania or even leaving Lincoln Financial Field. As of midnight going into Sunday morning, he put out a simple tweet saying, let's go to the videotape. A lot of people was thinking, hey, is he going to run it? Is it going to be in its entirety? Guess what? Yes, he did. With the help of the EVPs, of course, the Young Bucks, They actually ran the video live on Dynamite tonight. So, Mr. Cyber why don't we kick that good old bean footage?
People are saying they're getting kicked off of videos for showing it.
Jeez.
Do we really want to strike?
Let's do it. Let's do it. If you haven't seen it, let's take a look at it right now. So that was the footage. Everybody who was not a part of AEW or not privy to that videotape finally got to see it tonight on Dynamite. They ran it live. This is what everyone saw. So there's no manipulation of the tape. Nobody did anything to it. That's what it was live on air tonight for Dynamite. So one person is looking on the side of Chicago Saint. The other is standing on business. I'm going to let y'all pick who's who right now. Cyber, go on ahead. You go first on this one.
Okay, so first and foremost, Tony Khan, if he was going to release this video, he should have released it with the sound on the video. Because the biggest thing that he's showing here is the accounts of what happened that CM Punk said on his Hawaii interview during WrestleMania. He flat out said exactly what happened in this video is showing exactly what he put out there. Okay. Now, if he wanted to show, if Tony Khan wanted to be 100% transparent, he would have had them upload this video with sound. Because if there was something that showed that CM Punk was 100% in the wrong in regards to something was said sideways or anything like that, how are you going to prove it with a silent video? All you proved here is the information that he put out there is what is being shown here. And being scared for your life just because someone turns around and does this to you, or I'm sorry, but you know what? I can recall fights that broke out that we've heard about in the WWE, especially between the one that pops into my mind the most is the one between Booker T and Batista. They physically started swinging on each other in Gorilla. They got separated, they got fined, and they moved on. But this right here, I'm sorry, Tony, if you were going to do it, you should have done it all the way and you should have released the video with the sound. Let us hear everything. Because if you wanted to show that he was really in the wrong, then you needed to show all the footage and all the information. So to me, nothing's going to happen to CM Punk. I don't, and guys, y'all know me. We have talked about CM Punk from back when he was in AEW, before the rumors came out that he was going to be joining a major wrestling promotion and everything else. I had so much shit to talk about when it came to CM Punk because I think he's a crybaby. I think if he doesn't get his way, he's just going to be toxic and everything else. I thought that. And I still do think that. But right now, where he's at now, I think they have such a tight leash on him that if he screws up in any way, shape, or form, he's gone. But what they're showing here in this video, what between what he said and what's being shown here, what's different? I'm just asking.
So I'm just going to say these words, and everybody listening in on X and on YouTube here, our premium live service, y'all should know what I'm about to say and what's about to happen next. Cyber, are you done?
Oh no, I'm done.
You done?
I'm done.
Okay.
All right. And I've been waiting.
One more time for the people in the back.
All right. And I've been waiting.
All right. Okay. Now that we got all the bullshit out the way, okay? Anybody watching this videotape, I think I got a text here from Stevie Wonder. He even saw the same thing I saw. Y'all have to remember something. If you are at your job and someone comes up to you, very confrontational, while you're standing there just with your hands on your waist there looking for that next report, and somebody attacks you, what are you going to do? Clearly in that tape, without the audio, as we all know, CM Punk attacked Jack Perry. He put his hands on Jack Perry. I don't know where everybody else is from, but here in New York City, you put your hand on somebody first, guess who gets the assault charge? It wouldn't be Jack Perry. It would be Mr. Phil Brooks, CM Punk. You can't do that. It don't matter if you're in a wrestling promotion, you work at a bar dive in Harlem, or you work in corporate America. It doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work. What?
Quick question on the streets. If someone turns around and tells you what you going to do about it, what is going to be that person's immediate reaction? I'm not saying it for. I'm not saying it just. I'm just talking in general. If someone says something to you, well, then do something about it. What's going to happen? 9 times out of 10.
But see, here's the thing, and this is why honestly, some people need
This
to
is
learn.
why that video should not have been muted.
No, it's still you're missing the entire point. It's going completely over your head. This is what it is. No matter where you are or where you work, and people, everybody on X and here on YouTube, please tell me if I'm wrong, if you agree with Cyber or myself here. You do not put your hands on somebody if you don't want to catch a charge. Punk did it first. To be totally honest with you, if this was in the United States, because we know all in was in England, so it might be different laws over there. I'm not, privy to their laws. That's the United States, an automatic assault charge. Easy. CM Punk would have a mugshot right now. And then also to this, and a lot of people have been saying this, and you said this too, Cyber. CM Punk and Tony Khan. We clearly know Tony Khan did not grow up in the streets. Okay? He did not. Nowhere in the world. Okay? He's had a nice life leaving into everything, and that's how he's been. Mm-hmm. But when you turn around that aggressive, when you're dealing with Jack Perry, putting your hands on him first, and then turn over to Tony Khan, you goddamn right he's going to feel some type of way about it and feel for in fear of his life. What is Tony Khan? What? Maybe 5'8"? Maybe 165?
Then he shouldn't be a wrestling promoter.
He's not a former wrestler. He's not retired or anything like that. He is the head man in charge. He is the man that signs your checks. And you turn around to him like that, I guarantee you, if that was any other owner, CM Punk probably wouldn't have did that. Probably wouldn't have. But that's also a thing too, whether you're in corporate, fast food, wherever you work at, you can't do that to your boss. There's a certain line you do not cross. He crossed that line, and that's what it proved there. I'm sorry. If you have a child and they're in school and they put their hands on somebody else first, guess what happens to them? They get sent home, they get suspended, right? Well, guess what? CM Punk did that first, and he got let out of his job. It's pure and simple. But the thing about it is to push this all the way back, we wouldn't even be talking about this conversation if during WrestleMania week, CM Punk just didn't keep his mouth shut and just enjoy your big WrestleMania week. This is the WWE we're talking about. We know they're the number one promotion in town. We clearly know AEW is the alternative at number 2. So why are you going to give free publicity to your number 2, who some people, who was, made their way to the top by, dancing with the daughter? Why are you messing with the number 2? Why? That makes no sense. None. That lets me clearly know that you're worried about that alternative and you didn't put a muzzle on Mr. Phil Brooks during WrestleMania week. We should all know this. Don't put a mic in front of CM Punk because he doesn't know professional manner. Because granted, if this never would have been down, never with Ariel or Sports Illustrated or whoever you would have did it with, I guarantee you AEW would not have done this. So I'm one of the few people, I guess, or maybe there's more that's going to start coming out. I'm glad Tony Khan did what he did. I'm glad. Because you have to show people sometimes you're not the one to fuck with. And I think a lot of times they pick on Tony Khan because it's Tony Khan. Would they have done that if it was anybody else? I don't think so. So you damn right. He stood on business. He put out the videotape. But let this be a lesson, WWE and anybody else. When it's your big week, you don't want to give free publicity to another promotion.
I'm trying to remember. Did any questions that came up in regards to AEW with CM Punk, that was off of WWE programming, if I'm not mistaken. That was like on the MMA Hour with Juani. It wasn't on like the main stream from what I can remember.
Right. No, it wasn't on the mainstream or anything, but we all know 1 + 1 still equals 2. If you 2 put 9 in it, you can make a string. MMA Hour is heavily involved with WWE in interviews of any kind, as he did one with Rhea Ripley, also during in that week with Becky Lynch interrupting. Now, it's known. He should have known better. If you're this big professional that's been around for so long, you should know better. And I'm sorry, you can't push a man or a company so far without them actually making a clapback, and that's exactly what he did. And I'm glad he did it. And it never would have happened. Think about it, y'all. All you CM Punk fans, all you stands out there, think about this. If CM Punk never said a word about anything involving AEW, will we be talking about this right now? It's been, 8 months?
I will say this. I actually see a comment here from Sting, and this actually explains this perfectly. This segment wasn't to make Punk look bad, but to further an angle and put heat on the Bucks and for a match.
And that's the second part to it. It did both. It did talk about that, and it did bring up the angle between the Bucks and FTR.
So I honestly think that this would have come out either way, even if Punk didn't say anything, because they were just wanting to do it just to drum up heat. Because we all know when CM Punk was in AEW, FTR were really good friends with him. I don't think they are anymore because of the fallout and all this other stuff. I don't think they're talking to him anymore. But looking at a couple more comments here, KB, this is about to divide the whole internet wrestling community. Basically, are you on Team Punk or Team AEW? I see it coming. It's been happening since it dropped.
It's been happening, yes, but it's not the tribalism that we have talked about past couple of weeks here on the show. This is simply like either you're thinking in just wrestling terms or you're thinking in real life. And there's a lot of people in the internet wrestling community that don't know how to separate the two. Because I guarantee you, if you did what CM Punk did at your job tomorrow morning, I hope you like the unemployment line come Friday morning. Simple as that.
Let's see.
It's here. TK said, I got receipts. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. When anybody tells you they got receipts, you might want to quiet down just a little bit.
Well, you know him, and exactly like I said before we even started this segment, I'm not DJ. You obviously know how I am when it comes to this guy. I when WWE brought him back, I was like, oh dear God, why the hell for?
Right.
Because of all the drama he drums up. So obviously, when I said the things that I said about what I see in this video. Now, mind you, people are going to see different things. And like you said, some people are going to be able to separate the difference between wrestling storyline and actual, like, okay, this is your job. Me, I can't believe I actually found myself saying this, that I actually agreed with CM Punk. He was being transparent about it, but like I said, if Tony Khan really wanted to hurt CM Punk, he should have had the audio to it so we could have heard exactly what was said in the exchange. That's just me. I know I saw a couple other people saying that on X, on when you see the video, they were saying that. So, I mean, like I said, I normally don't jump on the side of CM Punk because I know how he can be, but I honestly think in this situation, he said everything that happened. Now, what happened afterwards, should that have happened? Yes, I 100% agree. What happened to him happened. He got cut. He was released, and he deserved it. But also, that kind of tells you Triple H must have a lot of leashes on this guy.
And just for everybody else, once again, you CM Punk fans, I want you to really think this out. Since CM Punk showed up during Survivor Series, right? Have we heard of CM Punk pretty much doing anything remotely besides jaywalking in Chicago? Have we heard anything from him? He's been pretty quiet. He's been pretty much a quiet boy. He's been on the up and up.
And he's even been down in NXT working with talent down there too.
Right. So why now would you pick WrestleMania weekend? Because wait, you want to make it all about yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, you could be a CM Punk fan. You could love his wrestling ability. That's fine. But you cannot tell me this man did not go for himself on this here and made WrestleMania week about himself to make a whole company just say, you know what? It has been 8 months. We didn't say anything. We didn't say anything when you left. We didn't say anything when you re-signed with WWE. You basically went on your way. We have not said nothing about you since. But you want to pick your grandest stage to come after the number 2 company? Okay, I got receipts.
But also think about it like this. What if CM Punk did this with the intention of drawing the eyes intentionally on him to help further the storyline that he's going to have with Drew?
They don't need it.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Let's be honest here. They don't need it. Drew McIntyre may not be a household name to more casuals. They probably know more about him after WrestleMania weekend and how he lost the title so fast after winning it. But everybody knows who CM Punk is. Whether you watch WWE, whether you saw his horrible reign in UFC with AEW and then coming back to WWE, they know his name, okay? It's a Trey Songz song. Everybody knows my name. So, like, they didn't even do it. Let's just call a spade a spade. CM Punk went for CM Punk yet again. He saw that mic in front of him, and he just couldn't help himself. It's unfortunate. We never would have had this. Never.
Going back to the comments here, Sting, if the statement "real glass, cry me a river" gets under your skin like that, it just shows how thin skinned Punk is. Again, no lies detected there. If that's what really happened, But again, that kind of comes back to the point of I wish they would have released the video with the audio with it, because then we could hear all this and it would legitimize what they were trying to do with the video. It's now all they're doing, which if you think about it wrestling wise, it was actually kind of a good idea that they kind of did it the way they did, because now it's all over the internet. The internet wrestling community, exactly like KB said, is going to be split in half.
Mm-hmm.
And it's drawing more eyes to AEW for that feud that's actively going on that involves FTR.
Yeah, for that reason only, but think about it. They've sat on this video for 8 months. That should let you know the company had no intentions of releasing that until somebody went into business for themselves. It's kind of funny that CM Punk talks about how Hangman Page went into business for himself against them, but look what he did during WrestleMania week. Your only job during WrestleMania week is to promote WrestleMania. If anybody needs to know what that looks like, go watch Becky Lynch during her Breakfast Club interview, WrestleMania week. That's the typical way you do an interview during WrestleMania week. That's it. I'm sorry. Punk caused all of this. Punk is the cause of this tonight. Would have never happened if he would have just kept his mouth shut. What is it, 50?
And Sting also here, he didn't have to approach Jack Perry at all. Jack was just, again, this is a case of this is why the audio should have been included with this. Because in the interview that CM Punk did about the situation, he was talking about that Jack Perry was turning around and saying that they were trying to discuss how they were going to work a match. And during that time, Jack Perry flat out told him, I don't give a shit. He was disrespectful to him. That's the way that they're making it seem like, that CM Punk's making it seem like. And then apparently Jack Perry turned around and said, what are you going to do about it?
So let's be honest here. Is this really, and once again, people on X and YouTube, please let me know how you feel about what I'm about to say. Is it really Jack Perry being disrespectful, or he didn't have his knee pads off to suck CM Punk off? Because once again, there has been many of people, John Cena, Triple H, and others, while he was in WWE, did not have very flattering things to say about this guy. The same thing was said in UFC. The same things were said in AEW. Stephen A. Smith says it best. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's not a damn mongoose. Sorry.
No, hey. And I'm not saying that he's not that person. I'm not saying that, because I've been saying that he's been that person since the rumors came out that he was going to sign with AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm right there with you when it comes to that. If he was doing this in all three companies, then yeah, it's him. And here's the thing. Exactly like KB said here. Punk has been almost a model employee since going to WWE. You know why? Because there's two things. One, Triple H knows how he is, and he probably put a lot of conditions on him in regards to the way he acts, the way he would have to probably any type of promos. He has to give some type of outline of what he's going to do to
Right.
Triple H, so he knows if it's going to be okay or not. Third, the second thing is he doesn't want to end up like Ryback.
Very true. Very true. I think he does have
It's
a lot of
self-preservation for him right now.
It is. Don't get me wrong. It is. But once again, if you've been a model employee, like, we've had people saying down in the chat for the night, why is it the grandest stage of all? You can't control yourself. But yet and still, if Tony Khan did an interview with whoever, Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report, whatever, and he had damaging things to say, the IWC will be trying to scorch him on every single timeline. So why is it good for one and not good for the other? Let this be a lesson to people, young, old, in between. If you talk about somebody, they will pull receipts. You had it tonight. Let that be a warning to you. And don't go around touching people first and then expect something not to happen.
I don't. No lies are detected. I mean, that's what happens. You know, the whole fuck around and find out. That's exactly what happened.
Thank you. You hit it right on the head. AW roster didn't appease his ego. Exactly. That's why I said it like that. And I'm sorry if kids are listening. I didn't mean to use that language, but it's literally just that. Is it really he said no in that disrespectful way to CM Punk? Or was he just walking around saying, hey, why is people not acknowledging me? I'm CM freaking Punk. I'm Mr. Pipe Bomb. Why are you not, going to get somebody's knee pads? Like, why are we, it seems to be that way. And I'm sorry, the younger generation, maybe you didn't put yourself out there like you're doing now in NXT. Or were you told to do that in NXT?
That is the big question. But I mean, guys, people who are here on YouTube and also on X, let us know what you think about the whole situation. I know it just recently came out. AEW Dynamite just ended. Just let us know what you think about what happened. In regards to the video, let us know what your views are. Make sure you hit us up on all of our socials to on Instagram at the Wrestling Revival Podcast, on X, Elon, at least that's what Elon Musk is calling it right now, at TWRP_official. And now we're even on TikTok at TWRP_official_. Let us know what you think so far in regards to the video being dropped tonight on Dynamite. And just let us know what you think about it. Looking here. Let's see. KB, I see Jack Perry coming back to AEW and joining the Young Bucks. I mean, that would be 4 people. I mean, it's Okada and the Young Bucks. I mean, maybe, but I don't think so. Epic Gaming, but on the challenge, he was repping his wife, so that's why he's on his best behavior during his time there. That could definitely be it too, because I could tell you this, there's probably Hall of Fame implications being tied into his contract. That includes for him and for his wife.
So you got to basically watch what they say.
Walk the line.
Right, literally. Peter also here in the chat saying it was wrong for Punk to punch him, but having no audio is strange. Like we only have one part of the story. Does that mean he's right in this? I'm just saying we need everything to be fair. Now, listen here, Peter. I will say this, but maybe some of y'all don't know this. You do realize that there are some security cameras that do not pick up audio.
And yes, I obviously know that, but we don't know if that's the camera that they got the footage from.
Right. And remember, this is not the United States. This was in England. We do not know how their things work. Maybe they have a law where they can have cameras, but no audio or vice versa. Just don't know, playing devil's advocate with that one.
Yeah.
But still just the same, Peter, you can't go around, even if you're in a wrestling promotion, and put your hands on someone. You can't. For instance, there was a situation, I believe it was early 2023, if I'm not mistaken, between Sammy Guevara and Andrade when he was in AEW. They were told before reaching the arena, you cannot put hands on each other. As soon as Andrade got there with Sammy Guevara, what did he do? Punch him. He got sent home.
I mean, that should have been automatic. I mean, that common sense if you're thinking about it as a job aspect.
Right. Now, let's play it now for CM Punk fans here. Let's just say Jack Perry was just mouthing off. Even though if you look at the video, he wasn't really saying much. But if he's mouthing off saying, you suck, you're horrible, you couldn't go 3 rounds in the UFC, all this stuff just to rile up CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking. He did not lay a finger on CM Punk. That's the difference you guys got to realize. And think of it more, not from a wrestling aspect, but real life, court of law, and law enforcement. They were to come there, CM Punk's getting arrested. Mm-hmm. Done. That's it. Because guess what? You had how many people there? Malachi Black, Chris Hero, Tony Khan, Samoa Joe, Hook, Jack Perry himself, Jerry Lynn, all there to witness this. You put your hands on that person, you're going to jail. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That, you know, that's in any work environment. I mean, you will suffer consequences if you put your hands on somebody, especially if it's a big corporation, which, I mean, AEW is the number 2 brand in the country. So I mean, well, in the world, technically.
Yeah.
So I mean, you do it, you're gonna get yourself fired.
Exactly. I don't think either one, myself or Cyber, can just go to wherever we are employed tomorrow morning and just put our hands on people and think we're still going to have a job by the end of the business day.
Well, it just depends if they deserved it or not.
No, see, no. You're not just going to go into work and be like, hey, how you
I
doing?
choose
Slack?
violence.
I choose violence too, but I'm smart. I'm smart. But like KB says here, Phil Brooks plus a live mic and very little restrictions equals bad things will happen. Only been saying this for the past couple of years. No big deal. Only been saying that. I feel the audio wasn't present because so many people talking backstage that you wouldn't have heard the conversation. That is very true. Depending on how the cameras work and if it's close to where the incident happens, you're probably not going to pick it up. You'll probably pick up everybody's conversation that they had there. And maybe, just maybe, because this is a wrestling company, maybe things were said back there that they don't want the public to know involving the start of the show. So
that is true.
You can't also do that.
I forgot about that too.
Because remember, I'm even surprised they brought this up. You had Samoa Joe and CM Punk literally feet away from each other minutes before the start of their pay-per-view. They usually don't release stuff like that out.
Nope.
Kind of breaks kayfabe, if you know what I mean there. But Peter also saying, absolutely not. I don't think Punk should have ever punched Jack. Pretty much that. You should never do that, even when someone's talking trash. I never said he was right for punching him. He rightfully got punished. I never said he wasn't. It's not about the punishment. It's the main factor of we would not be talking about this if CM Punk did not open his mouth during that interview during WrestleMania week.
Yeah. I mean, because I could tell you this, if it was on a mainstream, like official WWE broadcast that he did that, yeah, that would have been a huge red flag. Paul would have been pissed with him.
Right. So, and also think about this too. I don't think you're going to see Ariel for a while doing anything associated with WWE for a
long time. No, he's probably pissed off brass with WWE with that interview.
Yes.
Because I can tell you this, the Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley thing happened the day before CM Punk's interview. And he was probably in good graces with them, fine. But then that CM Punk interview dropped and they were probably like, what the shit?
Yeah, so you won't see pretty much anything from him for quite some time. I'll be surprised if he's even around by SummerSlam, to be honest with you.
Well, he's going to probably get he's probably going to get excommunicated like he did from the UFC. Because Dana White flat out kicked him out. He's not allowed to be press anymore for the UFC, for any UFC events.
But still wants to call this thing the MMA Hour. Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny? Sting down here once again says Tony learned his lesson to never give a huge ego the power he gave Punk in his dual contracts. I think that's also been something there too. Like you saw kind of the grown-upness from Tony Khan now dealing with these wrestlers and their big egos, whatever it may be. He's not putting up with it anymore. He has to let them know that I'm the one that runs this. I'm the head guy in charge.
It's a step in the right direction. But he has to be consistent with it. He can't do it with some people and not do it with others. Example, the Young Bucks.
Well, see, the Young Bucks are the EVPs. They are the two of the founders. Of course, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes being the others. But I even gotta say for this too, they didn't really go as crazy as I thought the Bucks would with it. They tied it into their angle, obviously, with FTR, and then just kept it to let's go to the videotape. So I really can't be that mad at them. You know, the Young Bucks, they could have been a whole lot more shady with it, but they clearly didn't. I find it funny WWE was throwing shots at AEW all week and weekend if AEW isn't irrelevant. If that's not the cherry on top right there. If that's not the comment that I saw so many people saying this entire weekend, WrestleMania weekend, I will be a millionaire right now because that's exactly what has occurred over this week.
Well, also you got to remember too, this isn't anything new for WWE to do with a company. If you go back to the Attitude Era when they were going head to head with WCW, they were always dropping innuendos and hints about WCW on their programming. One of the biggest things they did was talking about where the big boys play, that huge thing. WWE went as far as having Triple H and Shawn Michaels show up with a tank to a WCW event.
Oh yeah, we remember that.
So it's not a new hat for WWE to do that.
Oh, okay. So basically what this is, and let's just put it out here. You didn't have one of your own gang members do it. You had the distant cousin do it, which is Ariel. Because that's basically what this is. He doesn't have the WWE moniker. He's not employed by WWE. So it's okay if he does it.
I wasn't saying that it was okay for him to do it. I was saying that
in WWE's eyes, because it's not under them. It's not like the
okay.
WCW.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Right. So it's not under them. And I get it. WCW thing, that was literally like after school special. That's what that was. Tongue-in-cheek jokes, a lot of crotch chops, and talking bad about WCW. This right here is some NC-17 where you literally have legal matters dealing with this. So it's just a little bit different, and it just should have never been there. Should have been all about WrestleMania, how many records you're going to break, and that should have been it.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been.
But let's see. Looking at some more comments here. Yeah, I respect Punk as a worker and what he's gone through, but just like the Jake Roberts character, he plays a snake in the grass so well it bleeds into reality. I kind of agree with you. I don't think his work is being overshadowed by his ego. Because he did some really good things in the WWE the first go around. Even back when he was the voice of the voiceless in ROH, he did really good work there too. But again, what problems started showing up once he was at a company for a while? His ego started getting in the way of his success. And that is what happened in AEW, I think. And that's what happened in WWE the first time. And I could tell you this, I think Paul Levesque has him by his sack so badly that he is towing this line that he's walking right now. Because like I was saying, Hall of Fame induction for both him and his wife. Being able to possibly work with WWE after his career is over, because we're clearly seeing some positives coming out of him actually going down to NXT and working. He's been working with the likes of Roxana Perez, Tiffany Stratton. He's worked with Jay Cargill. I mean, he's working with younger talent to get them ready for the main roster, and I can respect that. But I can tell you this, I think it's to keep him busy and to keep him out of trouble. It makes sense.
No, it definitely makes sense. That's what it should be. But we definitely will know more as, the week goes on, because we want to know how y'all feel about it too, because this has literally just happened no more than a couple of hours ago. live on Dynamite. To all y'all that thought Tony Khan wasn't going to release the footage, well, you would have lost because he did release that footage.
Oh yeah.
Sting says, because WCW was hotter than WWE at the time, and it was a Jeep, not a tank.
It was something that had a cannon on it. I couldn't remember. I've slept and done other things since then.
What a great moment that was. CM Punk at Mania 40, not so much. I mean, he still found his way to get into Mania, even with the hurt arm and everything like that. But it's
the
more to see.
So-called hurt arm.
Because let's be honest, let's leave this question here, and then we're going to wrap up the show for tonight. Cyber, CM Punk has been there since Survivor Series. He has now made it through Raw After Mania. If you were to give a grade right now, if you were a teacher, sir, what would you put on the report card for CM Punk right now? Would it be an A, B, C, D, or F?
He's barely hanging on to a B-, I think. And that's coming from someone who's not the biggest fan of CM Punk. This is the reason why, because what I'm taking into consideration is what he's been doing in the back in regards to working with younger talent, working with NXT. Besides this hiccup with Hawani on MMA Hour, realistically, he hasn't been too terrible. Now, tell me, am I wrong saying that he hasn't been too terrible since?
No, I mean, that's kind of what we have to do with CM Punk. I think probably the expectations were lowered once he appeared at Survivor Series, because we're just like, look, we're not going to fall for this crap again. He's going to do something within 365 days, and then that's going to be the end of it. But he's made it through, WrestleMania time, WrestleMania season. You say B-. I'm leaning more towards a C+. And the only reason why I say a C+ is because of this incident, and he was injured. And we all know he is more injury prone than anybody else right now. So I would have to give him a C+.
Most definitely. But guys, that is it for the show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do greatly appreciate it. And also, once again, huge shout out to our sponsor, Ulti Energy. ultisubs.com. Go over there, pick yourself up some flavor, pick yourself up a metal shaker. When you do, make sure you use our discount code Revival Army for 10% off your order. It helps us improve the stream. It also helps us kind of keep the lights on, you know what I'm saying? So we do appreciate you as always. So Ulti, thank you so much for being on board for another season with us. But other than that, guys, let us know what you think about what happened on Dynamite tonight. Let us know what you think happened and what you think about the video that was released. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with DJ? Or do you have your own theory in regards to the video? If you do, share it with us. We definitely will respond to it on Instagram at the Wrestling Revival Podcast, on Elon Musk's X. You're looking at TWRP_official. And now, guys, we are on that TikTok. We are at TWRP_official_. So again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this evening. We do appreciate it. You have yourself a good rest of your week, and we will see you next week for another episode.
And before we go, I just got to say rest in peace to one of the best DJs in the world. Rest in peace to the finisher, Mr. C.
Yeah, have a good night.